Booker and Stryker, look at that. Jack White. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Last night, were you in Vegas or were you here in LA?
We had a day off in LA, which we went to the Dodgers game.
You went last night?
Yes. Yeah.
So I was driving home from Palm Springs last night, and it was roughly the 8th inning, and I'm listening on radio, and I don't know what sort of processing all baseball radio stations use, but it's awesome. And I heard Seven Nation Army was played.
Yes.
Were you there when they were doing that?
We were there when they did that. Yeah, that was pretty nice.
Do you freak out when that happens, or are you used to it by now?
It's hard because you kind of want to disappear, and you're also proud at the same time. So yeah, I would pick disappear for a second, but at the same time, it's really nice to see that that's still, whatever it is, 20-something years later, that still has this insane effect with people.
And in that setting, because he's a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
Him and I could waste 20 minutes here talking about baseball. I'm going to Detroit for the first time in September to see a game. I've never been to the ballpark before. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, great.
Waste time with that. Yeah. Start with music. Let's go there.
Oh, well, no, I wanted to go back to Vegas a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been out very much anywhere. You're on the road. You're playing in front of so many people. After the show in Vegas, is it like no meet and greets, no hang, no blackjack, no roulette, bus, see you guys later? Or did you hit the town a little?
We did hang out a little bit, but I've kind of grown to not be too much into a lot of that stuff. When I first got to Vegas when I was younger, when I was 20, I was like, get me the hell out of here now. This fake ass crap. I thought it was the worst place in the world. And about 3 trips of 3 times playing there, I finally found there's a small window of really amazing, cool things that happen here. You just gotta navigate around all that touristy stuff or whatever. And whatever, touristy stuff, whatever. I don't like judging people. Have fun. Go ahead, have a blast. It just wasn't for me. But yeah, now I think you just find your zone in any place.
So we're not too far off from a second full-length Jack White solo album coming out. And listen, I haven't done any deep dives because I wanted to ask you face-to-face, why not put out 2 albums within a week or same day? Yeah. Why go from April 8th to July?
Or a double album.
Right.
Yes. The first main reason was the vinyl production, because it was impossible to produce that much vinyl for 2 albums and have them come out the same day. I wanted them to come out on the same day. But they said just absolutely not. We'd have to cut at least in half how much vinyl we would produce for both records. So that was what really guided it.
The albums are vastly different. They're night and day in the coolest way. When you were putting these 2 albums together and deciding on the timing, you said rock first, maybe this, I don't think you've called it a Sunday morning record second. Why? Get into that a little bit.
I think it's everyone kind of thought that after the long wait of the pandemic, it would be nice to come out with sort of guns blazing record first, and then the next one, a gentler record second. Just seemed like it made sense. But again, these are all sort of things that sort of the songs start sort of dictating it. I had no intention of making 2 albums and no intention of writing that many songs or anything. They just started coming out, and it turned into those 2 things. And then the vinyl production comes in, and then the talks about when you're going to tour come in, and the pandemic was still all of that. And so all these things sort of dictated for you. You don't really get to choose this stuff the way you want to choose.
Do most artists, do you think, the ones you've hung out with, go into making albums with a plan? Like from song 1 to song 12 on our album, it's going to feel like a story. We want everyone to listen. And you're like, I didn't know what was going to happen. It just went. Like, what is the normal plan for you throughout your career doing that?
Well, funny thing is that Fear of the Dawn album, I would almost bet that a lot of people would look at it and say, this is obviously a concept record. I mean, it looks like there's concepts going on here, and the lyrics, the song titles, and I wouldn't argue that. I would say maybe that's true. Maybe that's what it is. Did I intend to do that? I said, no, I didn't sit down and intend to do that. But things just start evolving and sculpting, and you start doing mixes, and you do a sequence, for example. And something gets created that you never intended to. But maybe, I can't speak for other artists. Maybe other artists go in with a full intention. This is what we want to do. We want to make this kind of record. I've never done that, though.
It feels like you were listening to Zeppelin or the Beatles. There's a lot of Paul McCartney feels to it.
I can see that, yeah.
Do you listen to a lot of things like that and get inspired, or is it just that's the mood you were in that day?
The bad news about me, if you live with me or have to ride in a car with me while I'm working on a record, is I can't listen to anything but what I'm working on. Oh. I cannot listen to other music or other people's records. It's too I don't want to emulate anything else. I don't want to even think about emulating or copying anything else.
Yeah.
So I just have to zone myself out from that and only concentrate on what I'm working on. So sometimes people are like, all right, can we listen to something else in the car? I'm like, sorry.
Does one track inspire another track, especially on this new album that's coming out?
As in
Is there a cohesiveness to it?
Yeah, I mean, there's interesting sort of little connections if people want to dig deeper. You know, the one that I think is the most interesting is the first song on Fear the Dawn. It's called Taking Me Back. It's a full-on electric, Pro Tools, really in-your-face, modern sounding guitars.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the last song on the second album is Taking Me Back Gently, which was done with 1930s microphone, you know, and a live jazz band in the room. And it was... You know, so it's just the exact same song done in two totally different styles, recorded in two different ways, and just bookending both albums.
And I love both styles. We were lucky enough to get the new album, and it's
great.
awesome. And before we get to the new album, just a question previous. I promise it's not a crutch of mine to ask you about hip-hop, but like ever since Blunderbuss, it's just like I hear one little thing on a Jack White album, like, oh, hip-hop. But anyway, QTip and you guys did something together, QTip Tribe, called Quest. How did he end up on your radar? How long have you known him?
He came to a White Stripes show long ago, and that was when we first met. And then we touched base later on, and then he invited me out to work on that Tribe Called Quest album, the last one. And I was on a few tracks on that with him, and we worked on many, many tracks while we worked on that. Lots of different ideas. So, and then during the pandemic, he kept sending me things. We were sending things to each other. And this was one that really just clicked, and he got really inspired quickly about it. And it turned into something that's called Heidi Ho. And
great samples in there, Cab Calloway as well.
Cab Calloway. I think that's what really
awesome,
inspired him was that. Yeah.
This tour is going to take you in a lot of different places. My question about the tour is, though, after releasing these two records so quickly, how do you put a set list together for the body of music that you have? And these two, the albums are a juxtaposition of music. How do you sit down every day? Does it take an hour just to figure out what you're going to play?
It's tough because I don't ever use a set list live. So when a lot of times at the end of the night, I'll realize, oh damn, we didn't play the single that's out right now, or the song that we were hoping to introduce to people for whatever. All the business minded stuff goes out of your mind, and you're just in that moment trying to do what makes sense at that exact moment. So yeah, if I were to write out a set list, I think you'd start thinking about that stuff. Like, oh, this is the song that's playing on the radio right now, or we just made a video for this song or something like that. That should be song number 5 in the set. But I don't do that. So
well, I'm more thinking of the other musicians that you. Yeah. How do you guys together?
Well, that's not my problem.
Oh,
they're A++ level.
So you just tell them, and it's like it's go time, just like that.
I think one of his best example is we had a musician, Fats Kaplan, who said, was toured with me for years, and he said, you know, I just wish people in the crowd knew how much of what we did is not rehearsed, and we never even heard that song before you started playing it live. People think that we rehearsed that, and they don't know. It's almost like there should be like, you know, an applause sign that says never played before. These guys don't know what song this is or whatever.
But you pull it off, and they pull it off.
I think it's a great place to be because it's just immediately you can't think about it. You're immediately involved in the music, and it might be scary, and we might fall on our face doing that sometimes, but it's way better than if it was, you know, trying to play it by the book.
Yeah, and if someone goes to a show in one city and goes to the next, it's not going to be the same set list. And I think we've become too used to musicians attempting to be exactly perfect, and I believe rough edges create like better creativity and are more charming. Yeah. But I mean,
I agree. And it's you want to see something that happened that night, not something that happened every night of the tour.
Right.
As much. I get it. You know, if you got lighting cues and pyrotechnics and all that stuff, you have to play along a little bit for some of those shows. But luckily I'm in a place where we don't have to do that.
It feels like one of the new songs, which is called "Love Is Selfish."
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just listening to him like, oh, this is a personal one.
And we're like 2 listens in between us.
And I'm like, Jack, does he know that? Does his wife know he wrote this song? Like, is this letting her know? Like, this is kind of how I tick. You don't need to tell me what it means, but I love that song.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I don't know. When I'm writing, I'm always trying to write as another person or another character. I always feel like it's boring to write from my perspective, so I'm always trying to. But a line might come out. Say I might strum a chord and say the phrase, "Well, love sure is selfish."
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. And I like the phrases if I can come up with a phrase that I don't really know what it means, because now it gives me a whole plot for a storyline to sort of I'm an outsider trying to figure out what this story is and what it means exactly. And there'll be certain songs where you think, I'll never know what the whole point was or what the plot of that storyline was of that song. But I think that in that sense, people can get more out of it for themselves.
How much time a day will you put into learning this music that you just put out? Because it's such a... I'm always blown away. How do you know every word?
Right.
I know it's your music and I know you wrote it, but you just put out 2 albums within 3 months. How could you possibly know all
If you
of
pay
that?
too close of attention, you'll see me many times singing the wrong verse of a song. Yeah, and but luckily, again, I don't care too much about the specifics of that. If I did, I would be kicking myself every
Yeah.
night. And
Yeah.
but my memory is not the greatest for things like that. If you want to know, the line in the movie that happened in 1942 that I saw when I was 15. For some reason, I remember all the lyrics to this song or this whatever. But yeah, sometimes the memory's just gone.
Wow.
Never been good at a lot of that stuff.
But is it with the playing? That's what blows me away. Is it
How do
once
the
you learn a
fingers know
song?
to go
Is it
like,
just muscle memory that you have that always astounds
I
me?
thank God for muscle memory, I think, because if you ask me during a solo, what notes are you playing? I could not tell you the notes. I mean, I just know that's where I want that sound to happen is where I put my finger right there. So I couldn't, if someone stops and said, stop, don't look at your fingers. What note are you playing? I would say, I don't know.
Okay, what do you see when you're playing? Like, is it where your fingers
I'm
are
seeing I'm seeing the melody.
You
know?
do.
I'm in the melody and where the melody is going to go next. You know, if you're a drummer, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to hit this fill and hit that cymbal when I'm done with it. So you're kind of like, I'm building towards that note. I'm going to get up to that note and then come back down to this note.
Astounding.
That's awesome.
I'll never understand.
we were chatting before Lazaretto came out a while ago, and you may not remember this. I don't know if it's true, but you're like, Stryker, I would write down all my dreams, and many of these dreams came to fruition in song. Has that still going on, or is there a
Yeah.
different way that you're going about it now?
It's just, I think there's subconscious things that come about. And I had a dream last night. It seemed like I was telling my friends that it seemed like it lasted 2 hours. And I held up a sculpture in the middle of this, and it was an orange rectangle, and it was twisted and curved it in half. And I thought, that's such a strange thing. And I think, oh, I know what that is. That's this sculpture I saw at the Detroit Institute of the Arts back in 1998. And I'm like, I haven't thought of that since then or whatever. And then you could easily see, well, that stuff comes out in lyrics when you don't realize it. You're writing these things down and you think, oh, that's interesting. I just thought of that. No, you didn't. You probably thought about it 25 years ago or something.
Right.
And it's now just coming out. All these little molecules holding on to these little moments. And I think you're just lucky to have them. You're lucky to have them kind of flow through
Are you
you.
constantly writing? Are you one of those people that constantly picks?
No, I'm not. And to my own detriment, I think I should write things down, but I really only work when I'm working. You know, I don't think about songwriting except when I'm going in and attacking the task. I think it kind of comes from younger when I was working on sculptures or working on furniture. Like, this is the furniture piece I'm working on right now. And when I finish this, I'm done and I deliver it to the customer. And now I'm working on this piece. And I think it's the same way with songs.
Okay, question. The worst question ever. I don't care. I know what you look like on stage.
Brace
You're
yourselves.
So rock star Jack White. When you are doing carpentry,
Yeah.
and you're by yourself, are you shirtless? Are you like wearing a tank top? Like what?
Yes.
Do you have a belt on? Like what does it look
I'm
like?
leaving.
I'm head to toe tattoos. You probably wouldn't think so. But below the neck, no hair and all tattoos. Let's just say you probably can't see much skin.
All right.
Should we edit that out?
A tree on fire from within.
Yes,
The
yeah.
song. Another one. Again, we got the album. It's not out yet. This is one that I gravitated towards instantly and repeaed it 4 separate times in a row.
Thanks. Thank you.
Of course. How did this one come to be? Like, what are your thoughts on this
This
song?
was nice because I wrote it on the bass guitar, and it was something different than writing on piano or writing on electric guitar. So that's where the grooves came from. And then, I saw a photograph of a tree burning from the inside out, and I had saved it. I thought I should think about that. And yeah, that was the genesis of it.
And
Nice.
you're making the next single. You've decided what it is because you've made a video. We haven't seen the video.
Yeah.
and it's been told to me that it's beautiful.
Yeah.
What makes it beautiful?
It's interesting. You know, there's It took me a long time when I was younger. You would see, say, like those Beastie Boys videos, like "So What You Want," or where you know, they're in the forest, or like, and the movements are all like that. I always thought that's so cool the way they do that. I never realized that. They're just doing it in slow motion. And then when you finally do a video where you film, where the music has to be played at double speed or even 3 times the speed, which is really silly to be a part of in real time. You know, like you have a beautiful song, you're like, and you're lip syncing to this crazy double time thing. So if you're standing there, it looks ridiculous, but the outcome when they play at a regular speed comes out in that way, that slow motion vibe. And so that has a big part in this video.
Does it tell a story?
It does, yeah. It's interesting, yeah. The song's called "If I Die Tomorrow," and I'm sort of the, you know, maybe this character of who's, you know, the old mythology of carrying souls across the river Styx or carrying souls to the next world. This is the character, yeah.
One of the many things that I appreciate about Jack White over all these years, many times it's not one listen to one song and it's like thumbs up or thumbs down. It's like, let me live with these songs. Come back to me in between 4 weeks and 3 months, and then I'll tell you. But from April 7th till now, from getting engaged, getting married, played all these shows, about to put a second album out. You seem like always a calm dude. Like, is your head, like, how's your headspace right now with all this stuff?
Oh, so great. It feels
good.
Really nice. I actually, you know, I'm finding some great moments of balance between being really calm and really energetic, and finding better ways to turn it on immediately. You know, and our business was a lot of, as you guys know, is a lot of 3, 2, 1, go, be interesting.
Right.
You know, and that's...
We always fail at that last one.
Sometimes it's a Monday night and you're in the middle of Poughkeepsie and you're like, you know what? I don't feel like playing guitar right now. And you have to get in a zone immediately to play whatever makes sense for you at that time and for other people to get something out of.
You seem to be very comfortable with a lot of balls in the air, though. Like
It's
one
actually,
thing, boring. Let's throw 15 up there and see what happens.
The easy answer I've always said to people with that was, in any kind of neighborhood of that question, not that I've been asked that specifically, but is that I grew up in a house with 15 people, and, you know, I was the youngest of 10 kids, and my grandmother lived there, and it was a small house in Detroit, and it was no privacy or getting, you know, there's always something going on, you know. And I think that I grew to like that instead of run away from that and want to, you know, be, oh God, I want to be by myself in the woods somewhere. It's more, I crave that activity, you know.
Just to change the tone a little bit here, you put up a really meaningful, thoughtful post after the horrible shootings in Texas with the loss of all the kids and the 2 teachers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just read every word of it, but the gist of it was, you are frustrated, you are mad. Nobody that is in so-called power is doing anything. There is so much in action. What led you to, like, I'm putting myself out there, I'm putting this down, and I want everyone to see how I feel?
I think, you know, I've always been frustrated with that, but as most of us are, that. But I think specifically to be on tour in Texas while that's happening is really specifically, you know, you're seeing on everybody's faces all day long, every day, and it's a little bit almost ignorant to go out and play and perform art when this tragedy is happening right where you are at this moment. Right. So I think it would be rude not to at least put something out to you know, give some blessing to the victims, and as well as say, enough is enough, everybody, come on. I mean, every one of us, I think, is secretly saying that, if not out loud saying that. Absolutely. Even people who don't feel like they can say, that's what I meant by secretly, like they feel like they can't say it because of their political leanings or something like that. But I think it's something I think that we're all frustrated with. There's no doubt about that.
All right. It's been a roller coaster of fun and hanging out. Is there any last stuff you want to get in, Mr. Booker?
The only thing I'm thinking about is I love the business aspect of what he does and how he has this third man, and they do everything from, you press records, right? They do sort of everything. What kind of an asset has this been, building this company yourself? What is it? Is it equally as satisfying as playing music, being a business owner
It's creative, and it opens up a whole new studio for you to be creative. You get to say, well, hey, we're going to put out this vinyl record that has, blue swirls on this side of it and it's glow in the dark on that side or whatever like that. But you have that kind of opportunity. But the funny thing is that you also have this bizarre thing where I'll say, hey, I want to release this single in a few weeks. Like, oh, we can't do it. Like, what do you mean we can't? I own the plant. What do you mean we can't do it? Well, yeah, you want to knock the Michael Jackson repress off the set and the thing off there because Warner Brothers is waiting for that. And if we do that, whatever, you got this. It's a business, and pumping out, and everybody's in line. So that's quite hilarious when those moments happen.
Are you seeing the business side of the record business differently now?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, whether I like it or not, But it's you kind of see how every aspect is very difficult and. That there's reasons behind what you used to think when we were younger and things were more punk and we were more sort of anti the man and savagism, what a lot of those reasons actually were. It wasn't out of ignorance. It was people trying to help you, do what you want to do. But we usually took like, oh, they don't get us or they don't understand what we're trying to accomplish. Like, no, they get it. They just can't do it, or something like that. Yeah.
Man,
you learn more about that.
It's been so fun over so many years to watch you operate and do what you want in your career the way you want to do it. And year after year, you're welcome, taking it to the next level. Both of us and our station, we appreciate you so much the way you make the music and conduct yourselves and growing. We're going just growing with you over the years. Growing out. It's like it's a fun thing, and like we just appreciate your time and congrats on everything.
Thank you. That's really kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for supporting the music.
He doesn't have to do it,
too.
and yet you still do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. That's
Appreciate
really
it.
awesome of you.
Thanks
you
a lot,
so
man.
much.
Cool.
Have a great tour.
All right. Thanks.
Booker and Stryker with Jack White. See you guys.